And they walk away too, just like the first one.
On my body, I don't wanna stop until the break of dawn. 널 향한 내 무대는 끝이 없어 아직도. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, it's you.
Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at ATEEZ's It's You. I know this is going to be Yeosang, San, and Wooyoung. And I know this one is going to have way more dance content within it. I was waiting it out for dance practice, but because this is considered a B-side, I believe, they may not come out with one. So why wait? I really enjoyed the other music video. I believe it was with Sunghwa and Hongjoon, so I'm definitely intrigued on how this one's gonna vibe. I'm gonna have the closed captions on so I can understand as much context as possible, and we're gonna just, you know, take a watch, go back, kind of glean a little bit with it. I was planning on trying a new video format, but my webcam was not working, like my secondary camera wasn't working, so we're gonna stick with the typical format here, and yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. KQ Entertainment. This reminds me of another song. Nice. Ah, Yummy! It reminds me of Yummy. Not this part, but the verse set up very similarly to Yummy for me in my brain. Okay. Nice. In the birdcage. Nice. Very different vibes than Matt's, which is, I think that was their point though. Oh. And they walk away too, just like the first one. So that was interesting. Potentially, I wonder if our third one, because I know there's still 3 more, because we saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's still 3 more that need to have a little mini B-side with themselves. Okay, from the top of this, initial thoughts, part of me is like, okay, I'm very curious how they're going to do this live. This is definitely going to, a lot of these are going to be live, for sure. Especially, I think somebody said these are like the last things that they're going to do, probably before they do another tour, which I think is super dope. So naturally, I feel like we got to release some content so we have some new stuff for our fans. I mean, this with Crazy Form and all that jazz. And I don't know which ones that have been released over, like, since the last time they toured. I'm not quite sure with that. But it's still really fun knowing that there's a lot of their discography that's definitely going to be enchanting live, and this one for sure will be. Has a more R&B suaviness, very much so in the same realm as Yummy by Justin Bieber. It has that kind of potentially sensual, I mean, they definitely have some sensual nuances about this, but they are adults, and that's what they chose to do. And it's still very tasteful, though. Like, it's tasteful along the lines like what I was seeing from Jungkook on his 7 Golden album. Like, some of his stuff is a bit, ooh, spicy, but the content that his dancers said definitely tailored more suave. Now, this beginning is really cool, and look at the graininess. It does feel like they did like a negative shot, and then they did a little bit of, they added a grainy filter on top of it, which is super cool. Like, it's just very interesting. Part of me, honestly, is very intrigued on how they're going to interpret this live. You know, are they going to do an aerial shot? Are they going to play this and then they're just kind of waiting it out before the drop happens live? Seeing this in the beginning, it does feel like we're going down the wormhole a little bit, which I think is kind of cool. Now, I can, at this point, recognize Yeosang, Wooyoung, and Sun. That was the hardest thing, was for me to recognize Wooyoung and Yeosang. And it took me going through the music video. So, like, I had analyzed everything, and I had to go through the music videos, and then I had to relearn what everybody looks like, because all the dance practices, their faces are just blurry enough that you can't really tell who is who. So I am pretty familiar with who is who now. I got you guys. So this is Yeosang right here, how he bleeds it here. Look at the way I ride. Very interesting mask cut made. I like the fact that we have our dancers surrounding him. Super dope. Melting through, they go, and they are kind of peekabooing right there. That screams Block B to me. Now, Block B's not the only ones that have done this, and I feel like ATEEZ may have used that something before. I can't quite pinpoint it. A lot has happened in the past month of what I've watched reaction-wise. So it could have been them. It could have been a Block B video. It was Jackpot. They were at the carnival, and they were all in clown masks, so that was a little vibe right there. So that's what that reminded me of, but of course that's not the only thing. Look at the graininess too. It does feel very like a detective 1990s kind of vibes, you know. For me, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a little bit, that kind of graininess. I like how they go through day and night, and then we have more of the unison choreo. And somebody did ask me, do I use NSYNC and unison interchangeably? I try not to, because they are technically different, but sometimes I may. So now that I'm aware that sometimes I do change it, like I interchange it potentially, I think the reason why I may do that is because I hate sounding like a broken record, and so I try to find a different like synonym for things. If I'm catching myself saying a particular word or series or sequences of words over video, like often, because I don't want to feel like, okay, Jess, we've heard this already, you know, because I do make a lot of content every day, so I don't want to sound like, like a broken record, and where if somebody could binge my work, they would not be like, I've heard this 17,000 times. So there is a chance at this point in time that I have used NSYNC and unison, but they are different. What the difference is dancing in unison is everybody dancing the same content, but they're in a particular formation for a certain duration. Same range, same movement, like it is the exact, the intention is for everybody to look the same. That is dancing in unison. In sync, however, is not the band in sync, but being in sync with each other is in synchronicity. And then there's two factors that play into that. Typically there are more, but this is just the two that I just off the top of my head use and project when I look at these. It is the actual timing, so the point A and the point B. I have said this pretty often, but if this is your first time with me, I'll, this is kind of what I say is the point A and the point B, the move and the move. Now, the second part of being in sync is the range, and I say range a lot more than timing. It's how you get from point A to point B. Is that the same? That is being in sync. Now, dancing in unison naturally means that you need to be in sync. So in sync fits into unison, but unison is more of a choice, like a dynamic choice, or it's just a type of structure of your content, because you could do a ripple where being in sync in the range really helps with the timing, but the timing is different, right? But how you execute your movement is the same. There's like little things like that, if that kind of makes sense. So I feel like that I tried my best to try to express it more accurately, but once again, I'm still growing in refining vocabulary, understanding different contexts, elaborating or becoming more specific just so I can be more helpful in times like these. But yeah, I do sometimes use it interchangeably, but it kind of depends on what I'm talking about. So for that section was dancing in unison. If I'm focusing on the synchronicity, I'm going to say they're dancing in sync, even if circumstantially they may be also dancing in unison. So I think that's kind of where my perspective is lying in that. So I'm sorry if that promoted a sense of confusion, especially for those of you who may not be deemed like, if you're not a professional dancer, or if you're not somebody where dance is like your main activity, or you're very familiar with it. Hopefully that helped clear up some things to a degree, at least with how I come across when I do these analysis. So let's go ahead and move on from here. Switching through the energy, love the masking effect of this. So how they ended up getting this shot most likely is they kept the shot where it needed to be, like it was like stagnant camera, and they had him just frolic about on different parts of the space here, which is, it's fun. It's nice. I like doing masking cuts because they're really fun and they look high level. It's just tedious work. We're gonna take it slow, like that, boom, boom, boom. Nice little moment from Yeosang. I like how he stayed up and then the dancers dropped down. That was really nice little level. They're doing a good job on the performance side for sure as well. That was a beautiful masking transition. So for that, and you could tell that, what's his name? It was Joe, hold on, I gotta find his name, hold on. Okay, so I needed to go look. His name is Jordan Orme. Ever since I started doing analysis for K-pop, his stuff's been popping up on my feed more, on my algorithm. And what's fun about that is he describes a lot of these dances and tracks similarly as I do, but he focuses a lot more obviously on the video editing because he's a professional video editor, and that's what he does. Just like for me, I'm a professional choreographer. Now, do I choreograph for artists? No, but I do understand how dance practices work. I understand how to prep for a competition. I understand how to build stamina. I understand the K-pop scene very well, enough as somebody who was a fan of Gen 2. I had a lot of behind the scenes stuff I was able to glean when I was younger. I understand a lot of what is expected of idols and the physical demand that comes with it. So just kind of knowing that. If you like my stuff and you like somebody explaining the why behind things, Jordan's a really good person you can look at. Just for me, I'm subscribed to him personally because I like, if I'm like, oh, this is a cool video and I want to understand what the name of a particular type of transition is, because I also edit my own content. So naturally, I am very familiar with software. I go and I learn something new too. So that's a little plug, just for the sake of that's who I watch, and it's really fun to watch him. But anyway, let's move on to this. So that was a really fun transition here with the smoke. He probably talks about that and it looked like a truck or something with the fog ran him over, and it was a really nice mask to kind of create and mask over into this bird cage. Now they're dancing around him, but now it looks though like he's in a hall of mirrors. It kind of gave off that impression because they're wearing something similar, and that was really cool. Love that with it turned down. They're all in white, it looks like. Now this situation, sliding it in, they could have really went for it, but none of them did. And part of me, you know, I'm like, it's more of a tease. It's not like we see the double meaning, but it is giving a little double meaning here. I can feel it, this presence, this song. This is really nice. Doon, doo, doo, doon, doo, 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 doo. And I love how they kind of piano down, like you're pushing piano notes, and they're having a moment in the back. That's super cool. Going through. Love the reflection of the water. That was a really cool moment. And then they used the little extra effects to put on top of it. Super cool. There's now a little bird cage that San is looking at, and San is actually in the bird cage too. So there's like an Inception double meaning there. And then the bird flies at the camera like that, and it promotes to a new part of the world. Now, I do know, I think they're in World A, right? So I think there's multiple worlds of the lore of ATEEZ, and somebody disclosed in Matt's that they are in World A. There is a whole, 16-minute short film that it helps introduce that world lore to the fan base. I have not seen that, but I've seen other music videos. So I may have to take time to watch that at some point, just so I can really understand when they have a comeback. I understand exactly what is going on. Dance until the break is on. My performance is going to go on without an end. It makes sense because they have really, really long concerts. So this is we're going to dance forever. It may feel like it for how long their shows are. Now, San decided to not wear buttons for this moment, or maybe they fell off. We don't know, and that's fine. It is what it is. It tailors to the tease of everything, hitting it down because they're ATEEZ. They put the T's in ATEEZ. Sorry, I made myself laugh. I never thought about that until this moment. Anyway, dancers are doing a pretty good job, I would say, in general. My note for this. I mean, yeah, for the most part, how they're choosing to trace it down is really nice. So it traces whenever you have a move, but you have something that's giving the appearance that something outside of the movement is controlling the movement while it's being executed. You see it a lot in waving, or or in body rolls, in waving. Pretty much is where you see it a lot, but of course you can see it in other facets like tutting and just, things like that. Yeah, till the break of dawn. Nice little bobble of the head, really fun to see there. It's spreading all over the world. Yeah, it's you! I wonder if this is a fan song for ATEEZ. Is it ATEEZ? ATEEZ? I don't know the name. So I've always been scared to actually say the fan name, the fandom, because it's the letter A and then tiny. So is it ATEEZ? ATEEZ? Can you please let me know so I have more confidence in the future? I would really appreciate that. Thank you. I feel like I'm asking lots of questions but I think it's kind of fun though. I really like the dialogues we have. Did you notice with Wooyoung, he ended up taking his hand and creating a moment by controlling what our dancer was doing. So that was a really nice introduction into the next verse. Or no, more like a dance break, going down. Really great editing effect to really naturally focus on Wooyoung, not just because he's a different level, but because they made the filter more blurry and more peripheral based, into where we can really focus on Wooyoung here. Hitting it down, love that with a little red smoke negative effect. It tailors into the smoke we saw from Yeosang into the very, very beginning with the kind of acid trip, like Alice in Wonderland drop that happened with the white graininess. It kind of gave off that energy. It also reminded me a little bit of Studio Choom. Didn't Wooyoung do that Studio Choom Artist of the Month? Which I've already reacted to that. That is on Patreon. Sliding it down, really nice that. Now, for me, I'm actually surprised that he didn't do any sort of thread to transition on the ground. Normally, I see that with male dancers who do R&B tracks. I always see a thread in some way, shape, or form, but he didn't do that. He just stayed and he decided to ride it out on his hips, and I think that's fine, to each their own. Bleeding it in, really nice seeing this energy into the switch out with the knees. A world for just the two of us. Ooh. Freely without any distractions. Really nice. So he does a very good job of creating a lot of tension and then smoothing it out, which I think is really nice. And that's something that that helps because of his expansion of the type of training he's received over the years and the type of choreography that he's been given. I do know he really tailors himself to krump, and I know that's why a lot of times his training is a reflection of that too, where he wants to have the body that emulates it authentically, and I totally understand that, and I respect that immensely. However, I do find it interesting that he has such a legato that he can bring to the table. So legato is smooth versus staccato, which is sharp, and so with krump, it's very, very raw, right? And it's also very it can be very isolated. What I have found based on my natural firsthand observations, now this is not researched like I would research other things, this is just something I've noticed in the scene, is there's some people who do krump, there is an overlap of them pursuing and exploring popping, because there is some overlap in the isolations that can really help understand the dynamics and performance of it. So now that's completely it's not 100% baseless. It's two completely different cultures and completely different battle constructs and formats and how you explore and cipher. Completely different. However, in different histories too. So it's just interesting here whenever you see that he's carrying such a really nice smooth body roll tension, but he has the sharpness and the fullness of carrying that posture of his krump fundamentals. It's really nice to see, and it actually balances him out very, very well, because I do know he was my worst defender for puppy energy from the very early stages of the era. No, I didn't think that he was a poor dancer. I never once thought that, even in the pre-debuts. I always thought that he just needed more refinement of his power and performance, and I really think out of everybody I've ever watched, he has experienced the most growth in making his performance and his presence more applicable to the track and not overpowering or underwhelming the track that is given. I think he receives the most improved award. If I were to have an award, I would give it to San. So, but he does a very good job. And it's interesting, we had a little overlap with Woo-young of how he was sitting similarly to San in that moment. And right there, never ending flying, the imagery of Peter Pan, the little red accents is super cool. Nice! Whoa, you notice that little wave there? Super nice. Yep, I think the 90s vibes also come from the leather that they have and some of these kind of trench coats. This screams 1990s Inspector Gadget. It gives me Inspector Gadget vibes, or that detective, OG Law and Order, and it's giving that, and I love it. Oh, I can feel it at this very moment with the hands. The hands, what do the hands mean? Is there imagery there? I don't know. In my body, I don't want to stop until the break of dawn. My performance for you is still going on without an end. It's talking about stamina. What kind of stamina? We're gonna vote right now. It's for their concert they're about to go on. That was nice there. We've already kind of seen that. Woo-young does add this little little playful teetering with his head, which is kind of fun. Dripping it down, really nice to see there. Bringing it in, you did notice Yosang. I'm assuming if San is in the middle, Woo-sung and Yosang. Nope, Woo-young and Yosang. I think they kind of dipped in their knees a little bit. Oh, it was fine. It was fine. I was gonna say that they accented at different times, but they did fine. They have a little snap. Look at this green screen. This is cool. Now, what was interesting about this is that how they did this mask reveal and how they showcased everybody. What I liked about it was the fact that they're all different. Normally, when you see that kind effect. It's the same person, but because they're all dancers, it makes it more, it's just interesting. It's just way more interesting, because look, they even glitched him out. That's super dope. We saw this little glass effect, I think, in the water earlier. I think it's super fun. Come with me, let's take off. Where are we going? To our own world. That's where we're going. Are they taking you to World A? Is that what this is? Does World A have Peter Pan? It's in the same universe as Peter Pan. To Neverland? Ah! Yeah, really nice to see this here. It is also really nice that you have your features, so that your 3 members, they're the ones, and they're still in neutrals, but they're more like earth tones, but everybody else is in the much darker fets, unless it's in, of course, with the birdcage scene where they're in a way lighter neutral. So it's really nice to see this. Leaning it down. Yeah, da-na-na-na, wanna stop. This is cool. Dipping it down, love that energy here. Oh, he's cold. Give him a blanket. Dipping it down is really nice. How they switched it, did a little U-turn, a little pivot action. That's fun. And they all went, they dissolved. Which is a little different than how Matt's ended. Matt's felt more like a diss. I did learn many things and many insights about Matt, so I am looking forward to seeing what kind of insights are here, what imagery. I know the birdcage may be in reference to, they may have had a cage or a box. They've had like a box in one of them. I don't know who was in the box. I think somebody said Yeosang was in the box, so, but San's in the cage. So I don't know like what the imagery is displaying. Maybe it says I want to break free, potentially, which would be nice. But honestly, there's so much depth behind their lore. It's kind of anyone's guess for me until somebody clarifies it in the comments. So I'm very much excited to hear your answers to all of my many questions, because I asked a lot more questions this one than normal. Maybe I'm getting more comfortable with answering, because we're in it for the long haul. Like I said, I mean, I'm pretty caught up now. I've analyzed a lot of it, so I'm very familiar with the movement quality. So it's way easier for me to talk through a lot of what they're doing. And I feel more comfortable with it, which is kind of nice. So, but yeah, this was great. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more ATEEZ, or if you want to see any of the mini analysis that I have, that a lot of them at this point in time are not available on YouTube, Patreon is where it's going to be best to look at them. Like I said, I've looked at all of their main discography. I've even attempted some of their own work. That's kind of what I do with marathons, is I even take on an empathetic physical lens, and I learn some of these routines for myself. And I think at this point I've done Crazy Form, which is on YouTube already. Pirate King just got launched on YouTube. I've also done Gorilla. Who bless it, right? And what's also nice is I've already taken a look at the Gen 5 group, Psychers, which is underneath ATEEZ. I've already kind of looked at all of their work as well, so that was a fun little add-on to the end of the marathon. So if you're intrigued on my thoughts there and the comparison between the two, that's a really good option you can look as well. But like I always say every time, I always intend to have my videos make their way to YouTube at some point. It all is depicted upon the group, like ATEEZ, and how many comebacks they have a year. That determines how many videos from my older reactions get launched onto YouTube. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I always appreciate the discussions on Patreon and YouTube, and this will be of no difference. I will catch ya on the flip side. Bye!